Okay, I've got 7:35. We will call the council meeting to order. Start with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, that takes care of the pledge, and we'll now have the roll call.
Butler.
Here.
Basil.
Here.
Sabatino.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Oakbridge.
Here.
Jordan.
Here.
Bookmeyer.
Here.
All members are present.
Anything under new business at this time, and the mayor is out of town, so she will not be presenting a report this evening. And our service director is on the road, and he is attempting to call in the first chance he gets within range. He had to go out of town, so we're going to move on directly. Before we go to his report, obviously, I'm going to ask Donnie Smithberger if he's got anything he'd like to bring up for the service departments at this time. Donnie, are you on there?
Hello?
Okay, Donnie, Jeremy's going to be late if he gets within range on his phone here shortly. He had to be out of town. So do you have anything you want to bring up at this point under the service departments?
It's waiting for utilities, but we are going to flush the hydrants starting the week of the 19th. Through that week, there will be advertised and notices on the paper, on television, so people don't do any laundry or anything like that. Water will be disturbed. Also, the fire department will be checking the flow and pressures on the hydrants on that so that they can better serve the communities. That's really all I have at this time.
Okay, I just wanted to get a quick message from you until we see if Jeremy can make it. So at this point, we will go to the minutes that we need to discuss from the March 15th meeting. Has anyone not received a copy of the minutes and or the minutes that were changed? Corrected. Has anyone not received their copy of the minutes? Does anyone have any questions on the minutes? Okay, no questions. Everyone's received the minutes, so we will entertain a motion at this time to accept the minutes from the March 15th, 2021 regular meeting.
Yeah, Jim, this is Mike. I'm making a motion that we accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Tara. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll now take a roll call vote on accepting the minutes from the previous meeting.
Butler.
Yes.
Basil.
Yes.
Yes.
Sabatino.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Oakbridge.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Bookmeyer.
Yes.
All members are in favor.
Okay, the minutes have been approved with a 7-0 unanimous vote. Okay, administration reports. We'll move directly to the, at this time, to the police chief's report. Chief Arbeds, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. We'll start with the numbers for March. We had 316 calls and made 20 arrests, 58 traffic stops, and 4 crashes. Currently, all officers are reporting healthy. We've had several more drug cases recently. The most notable one netted about 3/4 of a pound of meth. I have one officer finishing up training next week, and we'll be back on duty with K9 Odin. And we deployed the drone for the first time on an official call Saturday night after a fleeing suspect rammed into one of our cruisers and then broke through a barbed wire fence and took off. Although the suspect was completely gone out of the area, the drone pilot reported back that the flight went about 28 minutes and that his visibility at night with the infrared was terrific. He could locate all the cows and wildlife animals, and if the suspect would have been anywhere in the immediate area, and it would have been a good find. I had a meeting about 2 weeks ago with Morning Rotary concerning the juvenile justice outreach program that we plan on implementing in the schools next year, and we have a meeting scheduled with Noon Rotary tomorrow. And that is all I have for this evening.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? We'll start, Terry. Do you have any questions for Matt?
No questions. Thanks, Matt.
Yes, ma'am.
Perry, do you have any questions for the chief?
No questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Frank, do you have any questions for the chief?
No, none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Yes, sir.
Mike, do you have any questions for the chief?
No questions. Good job.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Beth, do you have any questions for the chief, or do you want to defer to your report?
I have no questions. Thanks, Matt.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Linda, do you have any questions for the chief?
No.
Okay, and Mark, do you have any questions for the chief?
No, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to the finance director report. Annette, do you have a report this evening?
I do. I just have to report that Melanie Smith, the visiting clerk, her contract was up as of March 31st, and we're actually going to put her on a retainer for the rest of the year just in case we need anything. She did a really good job, and I feel like with the changes we've made in the finance department and her helping us get back on track, that we're really at a good place, and I'm comfortable with that. So I thank you all for your support with that.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have. You're welcome.
Okay, Terry, do you have any questions for the finance director?
No questions. Thank you.
Perry, do you have any questions for the finance director?
No, I don't, but good job.
Frank, do you have any questions for the finance director?
Yes, Annette, you said retainer. How much per hour will that be, or how would that be financed?
It'll be
Per hour or
per hour, but that would be probably just for questions and things like that. And if we would need her for another day, but I don't really foresee that.
and what rate would that be?
She's at, I think, 35 plus travel.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mike, do you have any questions for Annette, or do you wish to wait till your report?
I don't have any questions. Thanks.
Okay, Beth, do you have any questions for the finance director?
No questions. Thanks, Annette.
Linda, do you have any questions for the finance director?
No.
And Mark, do you have any questions for the finance director?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mark. We'll move to planning and zoning administrator, Mr. Murphy. Tom, do you have a report this evening?
Just a couple of items for council. Thank you, Jim.
The first, I just want to remind members of the public to get their permits prior to construction. We had a situation a couple of weeks ago where someone constructed a new garage without a permit in their backyard. They did beat code, and it was not constructed on any of our utility lines. So everything turned out okay, so that's always a good thing. But just to recall, last year we had two structures that were constructed on top of our main sanitary line in two different locations, and they did have to remove those structures and rebuild the permit. So we always like to avoid those scenarios if we can. Board of Zoning Appeals, they did meet on March 24th. That was in regard to the Convenient Food Mart or CFM Express, former Crosby's. Those variances were approved. They will be submitting their final plan shortly, so we can set up the required meeting before the Planning Commission. So that's moving along as well. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Terry, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
No questions. Thank you.
Perry, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
No, thank you.
Frank, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
I have none.
Okay, Mike, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
I have no questions. Thanks.
Beth, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, Tom, can you just remind us when the census information will be released?
I wish there was a specific date. The window is, I think it's roughly between April 1st and it's either September 30th and October 30th, somewhere around that 5 or 6 month time period. I do have contacts that I keep in touch with once in a while, but there's no new information on that for sure at all. So we'll just
And then
have to
would
wait
they contact you, Tom?
They may. The contacts I have will if they find out. I jump on the internet and try and see if the census is releasing any information or updated dates, but there's nothing new in that regard.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Linda, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
No, thank you.
Okay, Mark, do you have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tom. Okay, we'll move on to council
you.
committee reports. Finance. Mike, do you have a finance committee report this evening?
I don't have any report, but hopefully next meeting is when the Finance Committee meets. We will have maybe an update on an accounting of all the COVID money we had gotten, or get a little bit closer to that, and also maybe on there's supposedly some new money out there, and we'll see what that means for us for the city of St. Clairsville. And that's all I have.
Okay, does any of the council members have a question for Mr. Smith on finance? Okay, we'll move on to utility. Tara Butler. Tara, do you have a report on utilities this evening?
Yeah, we just went over a couple things that are regular annual review approvals for those, but we do need to, again, it's charging the $50 reconnect fee for April's disconnect due to non-payment, so we do need to vote on that tonight. The disconnects are tentatively scheduled for April 14th. I do just want to say before we get into this that I'd like to remind everyone that we are still having teleconference council meetings due to COVID, because as to not violate any health codes or anything. So we're still very much in this pandemic. So we are again revisiting the monthly $50 reconnect fee for April.
Okay, the reconnect fee would have to require a vote to continue not charge the fee. So if it is council's desire to continue not charging a reconnection fee for April, do we have anyone wish to make that motion?
Jim, this is Tara. I'll make the motion to waive the reconnect fee for April.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to waive the reconnection fee. We need a second.
Jim, I'll second it. This is Perry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to waive the reconnection fees on utilities for April, and I'll take a roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Sabatino,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Obridge,
Yes.
Jordan,
No.
Bookmeyer.
No.
4 noes, 4 yeses, 3 noes.
Okay, we have 4 votes in favor to suspend the disconnect fee, or the reconnection fee, so it passes by a majority of 4 to 3. Okay,
Okay.
anything else?
The other thing.
Good, Tara.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, you're fine.
The other 2 things that we discussed was the approval for our customers to check out the pool meters at the utility office. This allows them to receive a sewer credit for the portion of water that's used to fill up their pool, and to waive the cost of water for the commercial entity that we have filling up the pool for the first year.
Okay, we'll separate.
That covers our meeting.
Okay, we'll separate this as far as the fee for waiving the fee for the for waiving the charge for the wastewater and develop, allowing people, as we have in the past, to receive a meter in order to only pay for the water they use and not the sewage charge. And also, with a little further discussion, for clarification purposes, and I cleared this with the law director, while we do not name specific individuals or specific businesses, we do have to make an exception in this case, since it is considered the first fill-up for the Memorial Park, which is done every year. Their first fill-up is free. So we do use their name in that so that council is aware that this is the charge for that, and that the other businesses realize that there's not other private businesses that are getting a benefit, that they're not, if they have any kind of waiver on that. So the first thing we will do is address the waiver of sewage fees on the meters for the pool. So if anyone would wish to make a motion to waive the sewage fees on the people that want their...
Mr. Vilas, I believe that this was taken care of in the utility meeting. I mean, we are welcome to, we can. It was just to my understanding per the utility meeting that this wasn't something that had to be voted on in open council.
Oh, okay, that's my mistake then. This has been approved by the utility committee, so there will be meter sent out to anybody or given to anybody that is in desire to have one to have their pool filled without the charge, and also they've agreed to, as they have in the past for years, not charge the Memorial Park for their first pool fill up. Okay, do you have anything else, Tara, under utilities?
No, that covers it all. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on council for Tara on the utility meeting? Okay, we're gonna, before we move on to Beth, onto the police committee, we're gonna move back to our service director, Jeremy Greenwood. He is now on the line, and we will go back to his report. Jeremy, you have a report this evening.
Yes, Jim. Sorry, Council. I had a personal item I had to take care of this evening. Wanted to kind of go over the first things. Council items from before, the street list. We've got the second ward street list and a couple additional streets that we're working on. Going to look at how we can get some paving done this summer. We're working with coordination of the streets and some of the other work that we have potentially coming up with the water lines and the sewer lines and things. Meetings, I've had various meetings with the law director on a couple of different projects. Rec board meeting, an Omega meeting, with Vaughn Coast and Vaughn to deal with a wastewater plant issue. We had our GIS monthly meeting. Also had 2 employees 6-month evaluations, the 2 from the wastewater plant that we first hired. Had a meeting with an equipment supplier. Also met with a citizen, or a couple citizens on some trees and driveways. We had mayor's court, and then had an ARC webinar, kind of going over some things with utilities. Some of the upcoming projects that we've got going on, we've got a spring cleanup scheduled for the week of April 19th and through the 23rd. We ask that there's please no one put out any garbage. There's some information on the website, and we've got some press releases. Please place the leaves and any debris in paper bags and put them out by the street, and our guys will come and pick them up. We're tentatively scheduling it for the 19th. The first day would be Ward 1, and then the next day would be Ward 2. The third day, Ward 3, and then the fourth day, Ward 4, and then the fifth day, Friday, would be any that we missed before and all others. Also, while that's going on, we have fire hydrants being scheduled for flushing. Citizens should expect some discolored water. Please do not do any laundry until the water kind of clears up. We've got a progression that we usually go through to flush these out. And then we're going to also be working with the fire department, getting our pressures and residuals and flows from the hydrants as we're flushing them. The GPS receiver is in and set up. We're just waiting on kind of some additional training to get the guys up and running with that. We've got the computer for the leak detection equipment, so we're going to get guys out working on that and hopefully going through. The community garden, I got some layouts worked out with the rec center, and then we're looking at material prices for that. Building project still in progress. We're renting the building on South Sugar Street to the Belmont County Flow and Water. The fire department building, getting it turned over to Cumberland Trail. The city restrooms, the city building restrooms, and all the other restrooms in the city-owned buildings. The touchless fixtures are in now. We're just trying to work and coordinate with the contractor to get those installed. Still working towards the restroom renovation at the rec center, and then also the train station. Our crews were out and helped install the scoreboard for the St. Clairsville softball team. The wastewater department. I had a meeting with them to kind of update our treatment procedures. We've got the legislation to hire the wastewater superintendent to create the position. That's we're receiving resumes with that. Once we have the cutoff deadline, I think is this Wednesday. I will let council and everyone know how many we got and who those are. We're still looking at updating our administrative policies and procedures. The East End connection, we're just waiting for the water. We're just waiting on approval still, or funding approval. Our water distribution system that we submitted for the water supply revolving loan. The application was submitted. We're also just waiting on direction from that. We've got some repairs that we'll be doing to the dams, the reservoirs, different department things going on. The electric department has some utility locate service work, and we're starting to trim some trees. The water and wastewater, we've got a water leak. We're also working on the East End lift station and then the beds for the West End package plant. Street department's been cleaning and repairing catch basins. We're repairing streets and alleys. Right now we're looking at cold patch still, but hopefully soon they're going to start with the hot patch, and we'll be able to get through that. We're also repairing various pieces of equipment. We're going through. Rec Center, they finished up their soccer clinic last week. They've got an Easter egg scavenger hunt going on Facebook right now. They're also got registration for the summer basketball league going on. We've also got, as part of the life skills program, there's a car maintenance class. There's 2 of them that are being scheduled right now. One is April 13th, and the other one is on April 27th, and those are both from 3 to 4. They're basically the same class, so we're just trying to get there. The president of the rec board, Ed Bober, works at Whiteside. Whiteside graciously donated a car and a mechanic to come over and help with this, both of those. Rec Center is also planning Community Day. They're working on that, going through it. They've got a fishing tournament that they're going to look at for this summer. The Red Devil Classic track meet for later this summer, too. And they've got all 10 concerts booked for the concert series this year. And then the last thing that they've got is they've got a connector grant, and it's available online for people to come and donate money towards their program. The last day for that grant, for them being advertised online, is April 9th. The police department's got some canine certification training ending next week, so we'll have our handler certified with that. One of the last things I got is good of the city. Currently, no one's out sick right now. We've also received a thank you letter from St. Clairsville Schools for the donation of the aeroclave machine. We got a congratulatory letter from the Arbor Day Foundation for the for being awarded the 2020 Tree City USA Award again. And then it's kind of a great pleasure for me to announce that St. T. Light and Power has won 3 awards. We have a 2020 Certificate of Excellence in Reliability, a 2020 APPA Safety Award, and a Gold RP3 Designation Award from our organizations. On there, the other thing I've got is obviously it's the beginning of the month, so it's time for a new Employee of the Month. Another tight decision on that. We've got several employees that are going above and beyond with some of the stuff, but I'm going to nominate April's Employee of the Month is Mr. Ryan Denham. He's with the Water Department. Ryan's been with the city since October of 2015, approximately 5.5 years. He's married, and they're expecting their first child in the next couple of months. He recently received his Water 3 license, which is a pretty big deal. And then he's actually now working, he wants to work on his Wastewater 1 license so that, we'll actually be able to use him in both departments. And then the last thing I've got is the legislation that's on for tonight, the SALT program agreement. I wanted to go over that with council and know that, yes, we're asking for it in emergency, but here's why. We didn't receive the information until March 15th at about 1:45 in the afternoon, so we couldn't get it on to the last meeting. We couldn't get the legislation drafted fast enough in time to get it to everybody. So right now the deadline for that is April 30th. So if council so wishes, they can have 2 readings with that and then still have the emergency, and then we would still be able to submit it for the April 30th deadline. And that is about everything, Jim.
Okay, Okay, thank you, Jeremy. We'll move on to the council people. Terry, do you have any questions for the service safety director?
Did I lose you?
No, I think you're still there. Terry, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
Jim?
Yes.
Council?
I can hear you. Can you hear us? I don't think he's lost us. I think we've lost him. Well, if somehow he's been disconnected, we're going to have to give him a minute or two. If he doesn't get back on here, we'll move on with the rest of the council reports, and then we'll get.
Seemed to have lost.
Yeah, we're losing you, Jeremy. You're coming in and out.
Okay.
Okay, I think I can hear you now. Okay, we'll try again. Tara, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
No questions. Thanks, Jeremy.
Welcome.
Perry, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Frank, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
I have none.
Mike, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
Yes, I have a question, Jeremy. I didn't catch the one award that the city received. It was the one before the electric department.
We got a letter from, let me see here, let me find it here, the Arbor Day Foundation for the 2020 Tree City USA Award. And then the three for the electric department, 2020 Certificate of Excellence in Reliability, 2020 APA Safety Award.
Okay, but the Arbor Award is for us having a lot of trees in the city, right?
Yeah, that's the Tree City USA Award. That's the one that we have been awarded. This was our 21st year in a row. It not only deals with trees, it also deals with our maintenance of trees, our planting of trees, our general approach to the urban forest.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, Beth, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
No questions. Thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
Linda, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
No.
And Mark, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Sounds like you've been busy. Okay, we'll move back to the council committees. Beth Opridge, do you have a report on police committee this evening?
Our next police committee meeting will be next Monday at teleconference 4/12/21, 7 o'clock.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for the police committee chairman other than the next meeting date? Okay, we'll move on to the streets, north side. Mr. Basil, do you have a report on the north side streets?
One thing, and we've already discussed this, at the city building, and it has to do with the traffic on Partial. And we had a resident that lives on Partial having a hard time with parked cars during the winter, and so we're having that discussion. We're going to try to figure out a remedy, and if the gentleman's listening to this meeting, just know that we are working on it and looking for some sort of a resolution to this. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Perry. Does anyone have any questions for Perry on the north side streets? Okay, Mr. Sabatino, do you have anything to report on the south side streets?
I have nothing.
Anything on safety?
Just to reiterate to Donnie, congratulations to Donnie and his crew for all the awards. We really appreciate those safety awards, and that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Frank. And that's fact. They're definitely doing a good job as far as safety is concerned with our utility departments. Okay, we'll move on to building and grounds. Mr. Basil, do you have a report?
Now, Jeremy basically said it all in his report, and he gave you an update on what's going on with the city and the grounds, with the rental of the buildings and fire station. That was really about it. Thank you.
Okay, very quickly, does anyone have any questions on the planning commission for, or I'm sorry, the building and grounds for Mr. Basil? Okay, we'll move on to the planning commission. Mr. Sabatino, do you have anything you want to add or report to make on the planning commission?
I have nothing to add what Tom has said.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Fire district, Frank, do you have anything to report on the fire district?
Yeah, just a couple items. The board met regular session on Thursday, March 25th. At that meeting, we talked about insurance rates and, as usual, personnel. We had a resignation of one full-time and one part-time, and in return, we hired one full-time and one part-time. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 21st, 3 o'clock at the ESC Center. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Sabatino on the fire district? Okay, we'll move on to recreation. Linda, do you have anything you want to add or report on the recreation department? Linda, are you still with us?
Yes, Alicia Freeman's term expires on April 17th. I'd like to motion to reappoint her.
Okay, we have one motion on the floor for an appointment to the rec board. Do we have a second on that?
This is Frank. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any additional
Okay,
nominations?
Jim, I have a question. Yeah, I want to know if there are other nominations and how many nominations council has.
Right, we're going that direction.
Council has two, Beth.
Okay?
Okay, council has,
And are they both due?
council
Pardon me?
has, excuse me, council has two appointments. We have at this point one nomination. I do not know how many additional nominations we may have until the nominations are closed. So we do have one nomination for the rec board of Alicia Freeman, and it's been seconded. Do we have any additional nominations for the recreation board, for council's nominations?
Yeah, Jim, I still have Lisa's nomination also.
Okay, we have a nomination for Lisa Amos. Do we have a second for Lisa Amos's nomination?
This is Beth. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for Lisa Amos to be appointed to the rec board. That's two. Do we have any additional nominations for the rec board? Okay, I have no other nominations at this time, so we'll take a vote. We'll start off with Alicia Freeman. Take a roll call vote on her appointment.
Butler. Butler.
Yes.
Basil.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Okay, yeah, I'm in my truck. That's why. This is for Alicia.
Right. We have two nominations.
Yes.
We have two nominations.
Sabatino.
Now, Now those are to take the two open positions, correct?
These are the nominations on the floor at this time. We only have 2 nominations for the 2 positions that will expire.
And we have
two
No,
people.
hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. There is only one nomination right now. There's only one appointee right now. The next one will be in October.
They both, I thought we...
No.
Wait a minute.
For example,
Wait a
city
minute.
council?
Barry, just a minute. We're looking at the paperwork here. My understanding was that they both expired, so we only have one that expires in April?
Yes, April 17th, and then in October, I can't remember the date. I can tell you in a second. October 3rd, or no. October 1st, yes. Oh, actually, that's 2022, so it won't even be this year.
So they only have one person up this year?
Right.
We're checking the paperwork.
And, well, the thing is, the mayor gets 4 appointees, and she's actually appointed 5.
Well, we're going to address that at this
So,
point.
that doesn't have anything to do with council's appointments, but...
Right, well, like I say, that is...
Yeah.
That is going to be adjusted and taken care of. It would be done this evening.
Okay.
Possibly if the mayor was here, but she had to go out of town, so we will address that
Okay.
additional appointment
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Jim, this is Beth. Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm just really confused about all of this, right? Last week we were told the council had 2 appointments and there were 2 vacancies coming up in April. So now, am I understanding correctly that there's only 1 vacancy this year that council gets to appoint?
We are
Is
checking.
that accurate?
Well, that's what
No,
we're checking.
you get 2. We get 2, but 1 is in April, and the other one... Oh, no, I'm sorry. We get 2 appointments.
The council gets 2 appointments.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding that
Excuse me, just a
we
minute.
get 2 appointments.
Deb, just a minute. The council gets 2 appointments, okay? We were under the impression last week that both of those positions are expired in April. We're checking that right now.
Jim, this is Mike. That was my understanding as well. I'm confused.
It was. The mayor was mistaken.
Well, we're not talking about the mayor's appointments right now, just the council's.
I know, I understand, but they're confused as to what we were told last week. But that's just because the mayor was mistaken.
Well, Linda,
and
but I thought you said the same thing.
No, I just was recommending those 2 people.
Right, you were recommending 2 people, but we only have 1
Right.
spot. So you were saying the
Right,
same thing.
I was.
Is what
Right, I was.
Okay.
I was recommending the 2 of them because she was trying to replace them. I don't want to speak without her being here.
Okay, the paper that I have here.
All right, listen.
Just a minute, Perry. The paper that I have here, under a 5-year term for the council's appointments, those terms were made. Diane Schubert was appointed on November 4th, 2019. However, the term was appointed to run from 4/18/16 to 4/17/21. She was filling a vacancy for another appointment. The other appointment was Alicia Freeman, 4/18/16 to 4/17/21. So according to the paper that we have here, both of those positions, Diane Schubert expires on 4/17, as does Alicia Freeman's. That's the paper that we have
Diane
here.
replaced Aunt Nemedy.
Correct.
Diane replaced Aunt Nemedy, who was 10/2/17 through 10/1/22.
Diane Schubert is filling a seat that was held by Doug Butts, John Nemedy, and Becky Mosina, according to what I have here. So that appointment expires for her on 4/17 of 21, according to the information that I have here. And Alicia's runs from 4/18/17 to 4/17/21.
Well, Jim, we'll have to talk about this because the one that I have, she replaced John Nemedy, whose term was 10/2/17 through 10/1/22.
Well, I'm going to drop this back to the law director for what.
And Alicia is 4/18/16.
Pardon?
Through 4/17/21.
That's Alicia's.
Megan Book was 4/4/16 through 4/3/21. She was filled by Jennifer Johnson.
So that's not what the paper that I have here says. So we're checking on this again for that position.
So Jim,
Wait a
Jim,
minute,
this is Beth.
Go ahead.
Could we not get this all figured out by the next council meeting, which is before 4/17?
We could hold on to this since there needs to be a clarification on the second position. We could delay this until the next meeting, but we will have to have a special meeting in order to vote because there's a 2 or 3 days difference there in the 17th, and I don't think our next meeting is until the 19th. So we would be without 2 board members if that's correct, or 1. I will defer to the law director.
We'll be without board members for a period of 2 to 3 days, but if council chooses to wait till the 19th, which is the next meeting, versus calling a special session.
Okay.
Yeah, I rescind my vote until we figure this out.
Yeah, let's put this appointment off until the 19th to make sure that we get the correct dates. Everybody seems to be in agreement on the one, but not the other one. So we will put this.
Yeah, and I would.
Before we go any further, I would like for council to keep into consideration what Alicia actually brings to the table. She is Rotary Board. She's Underground Railroad Museum Board. She is currently the marketing director for Belmont Savings Bank. I mean, she's just very involved and very, very helpful with the rec center. She comes out to help to volunteer when there's something going on. I mean, just please keep all of that in mind. And that's what I meant when I said, why change something that works so well? I mean, please keep that in mind. Thanks.
Okay, we'll move this vote until we get the exact clarification, since there is a possibility of having more than the 2 people wanting to, or 2 people going to be nominated for these 2 positions that council appoints. So we could even have more. So we'll put this off till the 19th so we know exactly whose term expires when. Okay, does anyone have any other questions other than pertaining to the rec center board members for Alicia or for Linda?
Jim, this is Beth.
Go ahead, Beth.
I would also like clarification, and it can wait till the next meeting, that's fine, is how many appointments the mayor does have, how's that getting resolved too? And I don't need an answer now.
Okay, I can pretty much give
clarity on that also.
We'll just hold off on that, and we'll discuss with the mayor. So I can say that she does get 4, but by a misunderstanding, there was an extra one made. So we'll have that clarified by the next meeting also. That we could probably have done tonight had she not had been out of town.
Mr. Velas, this is Mark. I have a question.
Sure, Mark.
We had a motion on the floor, and we had a second. Do we have to do something about that, or we just let it ride till the next meeting?
Now, at this point, what we'll do is I'm going to ask Linda to withdraw her nomination, and also the second by Perry Basil in order to move this until we decide exactly whose appointment runs out when. So, Linda, do you wish to withdraw your motion?
No.
Perry, do you wish to withdraw?
Linda, hold on a second. Linda, this is a technicality. It's not a vote whether it's yes or no for her. Actually, I voted yes. But I think to keep all this straight, we should both rescind both nominees and get this clarified and reissue it, or look at the issue again in a couple weeks.
Okay, well, if she has at this point decided she doesn't want to withdraw her motion, do you wish to withdraw your second?
Well, my question is, if you don't withdraw a motion, what happens to the motion? Does it die, or does it just carry over to the next meeting?
If she doesn't withdraw the motion is on the floor.
And then we have to vote. Then we have to vote for it, then, right?
If there is
Because if it requires a vote,
Perry, it requires a vote and a second, and then or a nomination and a second. Then that second and that nomination and second would be voted on. Due to the confusion, my recommendation would be to hold it all off until the 19th. But then we say we do have a motion on the floor, which Linda said she does not want to withdraw. I'm asking you, do you wish to withdraw
Jim,
your
just
second?
so you know, this is Tara, and after more conversation and more clarification, I'm rescinding my vote. So until there's more information here.
me too. I rescind my vote.
Jim, this is Beth. Can I just say something?
Sure, Beth.
And Linda, I understand it's your decision. You made the motion, and we're asking for clarity. I think it just makes sense to wait. It makes sense to get all the information before we make a vote.
Okay, due to the confusion, we have two votes for the first nomination, or for the first withdrawn. So at this time, I'm going to ask the law director, can we put this on hold until next week without a vote?
There's been so much back and forth. Who voted the motion?
The motion was made by Linda, the second
for
was...
the nomination of...
Okay, the second was made by, I believe, Frank Sabatino.
Seconded his for the nomination of that particular candidate.
Right, for that particular candidate. Frank, do you wish to withdraw your second? Frank, do you wish to withdraw your second? We lost Frank.
What Linda does, I will follow Linda's lead.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that particular candidate.
Well, I've got a question. If we vote for this and we take it to a vote, and if it's a no vote, then it dies right there, doesn't it?
It all depends on who votes for it.
It's for the nomination of this particular candidate. If you get a no vote, then this candidate will not be seated on the board. Because the motion was to vote for this
candidate. But this candidate could be renominated, correct?
Could be The question is, council
I'm
has
simply
two
asking
people.
for more time.
Yes, council has two appointments on the rec board, and I'm just going off the information that was handed to me. One of the current positions is Alicia Freeman, who holds it from 4/18/2016 until April 17th of 2021. That is the one position. The second position is currently held by Diane Schubert. According to the information we have here, based on the minutes of council prior, was that Diane Schubert was appointed on November 4th, 2019. She was filling out an expired term, an unexpired term, and it must be John Nemete's, that was to run from 4/18/16 to 4/17/21. That would put that one also up, but there's...
This is from the minutes, correct?
This is from the minutes, but if there's some confusion with our minutes with the rec board on the exact term for this second member, I believe that should be clarified.
And that's simply what we're asking for, is clarity before we vote for either candidate. But Linda and Frank are unwilling to wait for the clarity.
Well, Linda does not want to withdraw.
Or do we want to proceed?
Do you
Or
want
do
to
we,
proceed?
or do we want to proceed with the second nomination with both,
Well, I don't think...
based on the minutes, which are going to be the accurate? The minutes are going to trump anything else, right? They're official minutes from the rec or from city council. That's the official record.
That's the way I look at it.
I have the actual list. I have the actual list, but I will. One.
But what we have to go by actually
What was that?
is the minutes that were approved. So the minutes have...
Linda,
both,
what info?
the minutes, wait a minute, the minutes have both candidates expired on 4/17/18. That's what we have to go by this time. Unless we put this off until the 19th to get a clarification.
And Linda, what information do you have that differs to that?
I have the list of the board members, their actual terms. I just sent it out to you, Elizabeth.
So Linda, you're looking at just a list of board members, and Jim, you and Elizabeth are looking at approved, voted on official council minutes. Is that accurate?
That is my
And
understanding.
my information was, yes, that this was
The dates that we have
Then-
are from the official approved minutes.
correct.
I'm
Well,
not,
then, with the unwillingness of the council members who are unwilling to wait for verification, then I say we have the verification from the council minutes, and we proceed with both nominations.
well, we're not done nominating because we could possibly have more than one nomination for the two positions. At this-
No, we're done. There's
no,
been
it-
two nominations. Harry withdrew his.
We have
If Linda's
nominations.
going to go ahead and refuse to withdraw it,
We have nominations, but we don't have a vote. We can have more than one person.
okay, well, it's just beyond my comprehension.
Well,
Let's just wait until we have official.
Hey, I'm more than willing. If you want to do a confirmation and a vote, all right now, let's just do it. We have bigger fish to fry.
I'm going to adjourn here for 5 minutes. Take a recess.
Sure,
Are we
go ahead.
staying on the line or getting off?
we'll come out of recess here after discussion with the law director. Elizabeth?
My understanding of the situation is that both council members' appointments are going to occurred on first occurred April 18th through 2016 to expire April 17th, 2021. Now, one of those appointees stayed the entire 5-year term, and that would be Alicia Freeman. The other appointee, apparently during the course of this 5-year period, 4 people have filled this particular position on behalf of council. However, the last appointment was Diane Schubert on November 4th, 2019. Per council minutes, her term will expire April 17th, 2021. So it's my opinion that based on council minutes, there are 2 appointments that do open up in April, and you may proceed on nominations for those 2 positions.
Okay, so at this point, by council minutes, we have determined that both positions expire on the 17th of April. We have 2 nominations on the floor, one of Alicia Freeman and one...
Hold on, excuse me. If we have 2, I would like to make that nomination for Diane Schubert as well. You have a board member here who brought in $1,000 of donations on her own in a very small amount of time, and that's the type of board member you're dealing with. She's very involved, so please keep these things in mind.
Okay, as again here, like I say, we have at this time 2 people's name on the nominations. We have Alicia Freeman, Lisa Amos. Now, those are the 2 nominations that we have at this time. Are there anyone else wish to make any nominations? Linda, did you say you had another nomination?
I just did. Diane Schubert.
Okay, do we have a second on Diane Schubert? Frank, did you have a second there?
I know. Yes, this is Frank. I second. I know of Diane.
Okay, that's...
And Alicia.
We now have 3 nominations for the 2 positions. Are there any other nominations anybody wishes to make on those positions?
Well, Jim, it goes back to my question of the mayor's appointments, and if the mayor made too many, is there somebody from the mayor's appointees that would be considered in this if she made too many?
No, that person is appointed by the mayor. It cannot be at this point unless it's made at a later date. So until we don't know what's going to happen with the extra appointment with the mayor, so that's out of the question regardless for tonight. What we are doing this evening is trying to fill 2 spots. At this time we have 3 nominations for. As far as the mayor's appointments, she technically has 1 too many. One of those has to go, but at this point in time, we do not know who that's going to be. So we can't nominate an assumption. So at this point, we have 3 nominations. Do we have a 4th? Okay, we have 3 nominations for 2 positions. And I think what we've decided to do on this, is anyone on council at this point in time have access? Do you all have access to email? Is there anyone who cannot send an email at this point in time? Okay, well,
Jim, I can.
You can or can't?
Unless I can send on my old email, I can, but not my new city.
Okay, send, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask council, since we have 3 people to choose from, that each council member selects 2 of these appointments, these nominations, email those to Jennifer McMillan. Email those, your votes are for what 2 people you want to appoint to the rec board. Send those votes to Jennifer McMillan, just the 2 names of who you want. Each name will constitute a vote. Mike, you can send yours, I think Jennifer is going to she's going to send you an email, and you can email her back so that you have hers.
Okay, that's my old email. Okay. And can you review the 3 nominations again, please?
Okay, the 3 nominations we have is Alicia Freeman, who is a current member. We have Diane Schuba, who is a current member, and Lisa Amos, who is a new nominated person. So we have 3. We need to pick 2 from those nominations. And if you will mail to Jennifer. Mark, did you have a question?
Mr. Felix, I have a question.
Wait a minute. Mark, did you have a question?
Yes, I do.
I think Beth said it first.
I need Miss McMillan's email address. I don't have it. And my second question is just Alicia and Freeman and Mrs. Schubert are on the board presently, correct?
That is correct.
And both of them want to be reappointed. Am I correct to assume that?
I've not been informed of that one way or another, but Linda says yes.
Yes, they have. I have spoken with both.
And they've both been
And Linda,
good board.
Pardon me, Mark?
And they have both been good board members, and they want to continue, and there were no problems, and they did everything they were supposed to do. Am I correct in that?
Exceptionally, yes. Yes, as I said, Diane brought in $1,000 of donations. No board member has ever done that. She did it single-handedly in a short amount of time.
It sounds to me like those are the kind of people we want involved.
and Linda and Mike, or Elizabeth, is Linda allowed to vote if Alicia's her daughter? Does she have to abstain, or is she allowed to vote?
She should abstain on that particular vote.
Well, but then she made the recommendation for that. Should that have carried or not? Considering the relationship, I just want to keep it clean.
She can make the motion. She can't make the vote on it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to give you the email for Jennifer. It's J.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
JMCILLEN@stclairsville.com.
And Jim Alicia is ALICIA?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And Diane is with one N or two?
One.
Okay, does everyone have an email address at this time so that we don't leave anybody out here? Okay, each council member, please email to Jennifer 2 names of the 3 possible nominees, and we'll see who gets the most votes, and that is who will fill these 2 slots.
Jim, this is
Now, will
Mike.
we as council get to see the votes, or is it just a kind of a secret?
Now, once the votes will be sent to her, you can come up, we will have the email on Jennifer's email. You'll have access to see who the votes are.
Okay, thank you.
Right, that email will not be deleted.
Jim, this is Mike. I sent my vote.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
if everyone would wish, even though we will announce what the results are tonight, I can have Jennifer send the results to each of the council members so that you know who got what votes, and that way you know that everything is straight up and above board. And we will also hold that email if someone wants to come in and check it in the city building.
Jim,
Yes.
this is Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
Are you saying we are voting now?
Yes. So the two names that you sent in will be your votes for who you want to fill those two slots, since we have 3 nominations. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. We're tallying the votes on the emails at this time, so please have patience and bear with us. Okay, we are waiting on one council person. We need to have their vote emailed in as soon as possible. Thank you.
Jim? Jim, can you hear me?
Okay.
Mr. Wheeler?
We've received all council votes, and at this time, the two council nominations that were appointed to the rec board will be Alicia Freeman and Diane Schubert. Linda, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to make sure everybody was there.
Yeah, we were just, we had, by the time we got all the emails in. So the two current members of the rec board have been re-voted in. That's Alicia Freeman and Diane Schubert. Okay.
Thank you, council.
That takes care of that.
Well, I just again want to say that we,
Go ahead, Beth.
no.
Okay, and as far as the clarification on the other position, there was an extra appointment made prior by the mayor. There was an oversight, not realizing that a year ago, she nominated Ed Bober, who is the president. So she made 3 additional nominations, which she only had 2. So she is going to look at those, and that will be addressed at the next meeting. Okay, Linda, do you have anything else on the rec board?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Okay, do you have any questions for Linda on the rec board? Okay, we'll move on Park District. Linda, do you have anything on the Park District?
No report.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Linda on the Park Board? Okay.
Jim, what was the question? I lost it.
Is there any questions Perry, for Linda on the Park Board?
Yeah, actually, I do have a question. I know that Debbie has been pursuing grants.
Excuse me, Perry.
The grants
Perry, we're on the Park Board, not the Rec Board.
Yeah.
Park is
The park.
Park Board,
The
different.
Memorial Park, and that's different than the Rec Center.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. No, not about the park.
Okay. Okay, that finishes the committee reports for council. We'll move on now to ordinance and resolutions and ordinance and Law Director Elizabeth Click.
Okay, before council tonight is one resolution. It is up for the first reading, though it does have an emergency language in it. And that is resolution number 2021-7, That's a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2021 and declaring an emergency. The deadline to participate in this program is April 30th, so we could take up to 2 readings.
Okay, we're going to have the first reading on this resolution.
Resolution number 2021-7, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Okay, this is the first reading, since we are dealing with a potential time frame, but we do have another council meeting. It could be read a second time, but by that deadline, we would have to take 2 votes that night and consider an emergency. So at this point in time, to make sure we don't run out of deadline for this salt purchase, does anyone wish to waive the rules required for 3 readings and make a nomination, a motion to consider this emergency legislation? Okay, nobody is making a motion to...
Jim, this is Beth.
Yeah, Beth.
I'm looking for the language.
Okay.
I move that the rules requiring ordinances and resolutions to be read on 3 separate readings be suspended, declaring an emergency. This is ODOT and salt, right?
Right. And the deadline is...
I make that
2
motion.
weeks away. Okay, do we have a second?
I second the motion.
We have Perry for a second. We'll now take a vote on whether or not to consider this emergency legislation.
Butler,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Sabatino,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Oakridge,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Buckmeyer.
Yes.
Okay, we have 7 votes in favor of considering this emergency legislation. We'll now read it and take a vote on the original motion.
Resolution number 2021-7, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Okay, we'll now take a roll call vote on the original motion to approve this resolution.
Butler,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Sabatino,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Oakridge,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Buckmeyer.
Yes.
All members are in favor.
Okay, we have a 7-0 decision that this is passed, then we will make this purchase. Okay, that is the only resolution or ordinance that we have up tonight. Elizabeth, we do have old business that concerns the variance, which we discussed at the previous meeting. If this has to be discussed, it would have to be in the executive session.
That is correct.
So if anybody wants to discuss this at this time, we need to make a motion to, someone to make a motion to go to executive session.
Council, this would be under ORC Section 121.22G3.
This is Beth. I make a motion to go into the executive session under Section ORC 121.22G3.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We need a vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Sabatino,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Oakbridge,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Bookmeyer.
No.
Negotiation, to clarify it, this is a motion that is requesting that we continue negotiations and grant the variance to the public. Do we have a second for anyone that wants to grant or motion, a second on this motion?
Jim, this is Tara. I'll grant a second.
Okay, we have a second with Tara Butler on continuing. So that everyone is aware, we're going to take a vote. If you vote yes to this motion, you are granting the variance to the property owners to connect to city services without annexation. If you vote no on this motion, then you are turning down the variance and the situation ends tonight. Does anyone have any questions on clarification for the motion?
I just have a question that regardless of the outcome, Elizabeth, you will contact Attorney Shaheen?
Yes, I will.
He could possibly be listening in tonight, I don't know, but he will be contacted. Okay, we have a motion and a second, so at this time we'll take a vote. Again, a no vote turns down the variance, a yes vote grants the variance. So we will now take a roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Basil,
No.
Sabatino,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Oakbridge,
Yes.
Jordan,
No.
Bookmeyer.
No.
Three in favor, 4 opposed.
Okay, we have 3 in favor of the motion, 4 opposed. The request to grant the variance to the Kozels is denied. Okay, that's all we have under the agenda. The next meeting will be Monday, April 19th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. and it will also be a teleconference. Do I have a motion to adjourn the council meeting?
So moved, Frank.
We have a motion.
Second, Mark.
The second by Mark. This council meeting is adjourned.